Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast.
Good evening.
Good evening. I am here with Lucas and Paul and Johnny and Graham, but no Dan. We've lost Dan. We don't know where he is. But reader, as a result,
He's gone AWOL.
His seat is free, so there's a bit more space around the table.
He's in
find
his
yourself a
wheelie
spot.
bin.
He might be in his wheelie bin.
Where you been?
Where you wheelie bin? Where we left things. I mean, we don't really need to. Do we need to do a recap?
Well, it's
we'd beaten them.
It's his own fault really for
celebratory.
not being here and being able to bask in the glory of the fantastic spell.
Oh, you're still on the Dan
Saves
thing.
the
Sorry.
day.
It was Burple who...
Yes,
It was
Burple.
Burple who really, that was just an amazing move, really.
But we must never tell him.
No.
thoroughly
That's right.
unpredictable
It's very important that
result.
he doesn't know.
We'll edit this bit out. Yeah, I can edit out that bit in the combat as well, so that it never comes to the light of day. We can just splice it in, right?
Yeah.
Now,
We've gone up a level.
Yes. Lots of things to discuss.
after all the ceremonial, you are winched down into the understructure. The understructure. I'm saying that you get back to the scenery at about, I don't know, I mean, your bout only lasted about 2 minutes, if that.
Yeah,
Mm.
very quick.
So I would say that you're back in the scenery by about 20 past 8, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the scenery itself is dead quiet. The understructure is quiet. There are fewer guards around than usual in the understructure, you notice. The scenery itself, you go down the big broad staircase. The kitchens are still open. You can hear kind of the clattering of pots and pans and stuff going on. But there is only one team sitting around a table in the actual mess area, and that is the Anvil of Thump. Their mechanized giant suits of armor are all parked up against one wall, and the gnomes themselves are all just sitting around a table. They're looking a little bit, I don't know, it's all a little bit like the energy is lower. I mean, there's only 4 teams left. No sign of Filge, no sign of Chank Fankham or Mernts Dankbarrel from the Newell Mountain Massacre. Fankham! Filge is probably in his cabin. He doesn't seem to come out very much. It's perfectly possible that Chank and Mernts Dankbarrel were up watching your fight. There's no rule against it. I mean, that could be where they were.
So when's the next bout?
You think the draw is going to be imminent, but you've got a bit of time. The gnomes wave in kind of half-hearted fashion at you, but they don't invite you over for a drink. There's a bit of nerves going on because it's like it's either them, you, the Newell Mountain Massacre, or the Gravediggers, right? I mean, so there's a 1 in 3 chance that they've got you tomorrow. The kitchen door swings open as you come in, and a kitchen hand pops their head out and basically shouts back into the kitchen, "It's the weird ones, they won." And you can hear a voice from inside go, "Which weird ones? The one with the pointy head and the funny little man." And a couple of heads pop out and they kind of wave at you. "Oh, congratulations, well done." And they bring out, provender
Victor's supper.
and drinks. Yes, you get a victor's supper, precisely.
Lovely.
And you get a chance to sit and recuperate
This is
I'm going to
the
ask
serious
for
end
extra
of the
steaks
competition.
because I would like to feed
anything you like, sir? Yes, no, they've got
feed the
plenty of
monsters.
food. How would you like your steak, Mr.
Rare,
Whiteby?
please.
Rare, we can bring that out.
No sign of Garth.
You left Garth in your cabin with Lahaka, his sister. You're not sure if he's still there. You may want to go and see what Garth is up to, or you could take a seat around the table in the scenery and we could talk about your new level 9.
Let's do
Start
that.
with that.
Good plan.
Yeah, and we need to talk about betting results.
Oh, we
and
do.
also, I realised when we won the last bout, we won bronze statue and some gold, but we never tallied it up.
Well, you got 5,000 gold pieces in a purse,
So 1,000 each.
and you
That
won.
was this round, though.
Yes, you won 2,000 in the first bout.
Yeah, so the 2,000.
I've got it written down. I mean, can't spend it on anything. So
No, but there's 400 each, right?
Yeah.
So I forgot to write that down. So.
You got a bronze statuette of a bull in the first round, then you got a silver statue of something else. I can't remember what you got last week.
We got a dwarf gladiator figurine.
Dwarf gladiator figurine. Well, very nice. Somebody can paint it later. Levels. Who wants to go first, and who's got what?
Well, I'll go first.
How
because
many hours have you got?
boring. I haven't got
As long as you
much to
need.
do. Basically, I took a toughness as a feat,
Of
course.
Yep.
which gave me 18 hit points.
Yes. Nice.
Because I'm barbarian, that's effectively 36 hit
Yes,
points,
because of the rage.
which is a
protection.
lot.
Yep.
And then I took 1 extra level of cleric, and I got a cantrip, which is Toll the Dead.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, you picked the old faves.
Yeah, the old favourites. Just to loosen my opponents up before I go toe to toe. And then the other one, the second level spell was Lesser Restoration.
Ooh.
Yes, very useful.
Just,
I mean, you seem to encounter
yeah.
kind of challenges more and more often that restoration is useful for.
Yeah.
It's good for clearing conditions, which is good for you because I know you hate anything that sort of knocks you out of
Yes,
fights. Yeah, you
exactly.
absolutely load that stuff.
And for the reader's benefit, the reason I got toughness rather than the ability check is because you're multi-classing,
Yes.
you don't get the extra ability upgrade or feat upgrade. It doesn't factor in on the aggregate number of levels. It factors in on the 4th level of a particular class. So the last level, 8th level, everybody got their second bump up.
Oh, I see.
But
Yes,
I didn't, because I was a 5th level barbarian and a 3rd level cleric, and it wasn't until I got to 4th level cleric that I got the extra bump up.
Got it.
So that's
yes.
the sort of slight disadvantage of multi-classing, which is actually quite clever, I think. Anyway, that's me.
Well, that's good. Who wants to go next?
Go on, Lucas.
I have to say, after the last combat, I got a bit annoyed that... problem with the monk is, I've realised, is... and I don't really understand this, but, you know, a thief gets sneak attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is supposed to be a thief's ability to identify, you know, weaknesses and effectively bury the knife in the right place to do the extra damage, right? And it's
Yeah,
like, I mean... what's your sneak attack now? It's like, I don't know what, 4d6 extra?
5d6.
5d6 extra. I mean, you would have thought that a monk who's basically trained in, you know, the martial arts and understanding, you know, all the body and everything, that you would have thought that sort of, you know, a monk would
All
have
the body
something
and
like
everything.
that. You know,
You
you
would
know
have
what I
thought.
mean.
Yeah, there. I mean,
But monks don't have that, so
They have lots of attacks, though, don't they?
yeah.
You can-
so
you
but
can only
that's-
sneak on
that's
one
the thing,
attack.
it's death by 1,000 cuts, you know.
that's the choice you make.
Thief's
when you
like an
look at the
assassin,
glass.
though, so they, you know, that's their one thing. It's that strike. Whereas monk, you can do, as Graham's saying, continual.
Yes.
The monk
Fights,
is an
key
odd class,
points.
though, because it's neither. They used to have these kind of classifications, didn't they? Striker and
Yeah.
healer and whatever, and it's like the monk is kind of a bit of everything. You get lots of
Yeah.
attacks, you get lots of powers spread quite thinly, rather
That's
than
right, yeah. It is. You get to do all this sort of stuff like on every attack you can change it to a stunning strike, but then that gets a DC save and all those kind of things. Anyway,
You're about to describe what you've done, and I'm going to become
Yeah.
cross because it's going to be ridiculously overpowered. But here we go. I can see what you're doing.
no, well, I don't.
You're priming me for the. That's what you're
No,
doing.
unfortunately not. You know, I'm not that clever. Anyway, so Graham gave me a couple of good suggestions, which I looked into. There was one
Don't like the sound of that.
crusher, which sort of allows you to basically force your opponent round the battlefield. Or there's a polearm master, which gives you extra sort of benefits if you're using it like a quarterstaff weapon. But in the end, none of those sort of really, I don't know, they didn't really seem to sort of add lots of damage or anything to a particular attack or whatever. And then I stumbled across mobile.
Ah, yeah. No. Okay.
So mobile
Yes.
basically adds 10 to my speed,
Mm-hmm.
and it also allows me, if I make an attack, then I can move without attacks of opportunity.
It's a beautiful thing.
So given that I have 55 speed now, plus I can do a long
55?
strider.
You're faster than me.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
long strider
No
adds
fair.
10.
No fair.
So basically I can stand like 30 feet away, move in, do 4 attacks, move back out again.
Yeah.
Be very, very like like a mosquito or something.
Yeah.
And
As in annoying. Yeah.
yeah, as in annoying. And obviously if you added Fangs of the Fire Snake, I could literally be 45 foot away and do a
Yeah.
melee attack. So
Your rounds are going to get increasingly. I mean, they're already
they
quite
are.
irritating.
You're going to be very, very, very annoyed. But I have to say, I was spurned on by Paul.
Spurred on.
Been a long day. Spurred on by Paul.
Oh, yes.
That
So how
kind of
fast can you
lets
move,
be
Paul?
annoying.
Me? My
He's
base
obsessed
move.
with how fast everybody can move, isn't he?
My
Yeah.
base move, 60.
Yeah.
Oh no,
course
hang
it
on.
is.
My base moves. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's 70.
Your base
Sorry.
move,
Right.
70.
Yeah,
sorry,
but that's
mine-
magically adjusted, right?
That's with
Charlie,
my
that's
magical
with
thing,
your
so it's 70.
Yeah, no, mine's-
so I can move faster than everybody else. Sorry, that's okay.
My
That's okay.
base move is 40.
Well, I pride
Johnny.
myself on moving slower than everyone else.
Yeah.
Just waddling.
If you have to move Why move quickly?
Yes, you absolutely have to move. Talking,
Unless
okay.
there's a bear chasing you.
And is that
Then I
it?
only have to move
And-
faster
well,
than one
that's-
of you guys.
That's it, unfortunately, yes. The nice
so we
adjustment will come next level, because at next level, monks can then move up vertical surfaces and across water without,
Oh, blimey.
as part of their movement, which would be
Okay,
quite
well, I'll have to
interesting.
Remember to adjust the adventure as we get into it to make sure we don't have either of those things. Loads of horizontal surfaces, no water.
Yeah.
That took a long time, and there was some really serious issues that I think you would have worked through there, personal issues you could have worked through there, Lucas. My advice would be read the character class before you decide to use it.
I think Monk sounds cool. I think it's working quite well.
Who next? Paul? Tell us about
Alessandra.
If it is
Sandy.
a real Parker,
Yeah.
of course. We
If
still
it is the
don't
real
know, do we?
Parker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alessandra.
Yes.
Alessandra has gone. It's not that exciting. She's got an extra d6, so 5d6 on sneak attack, which
yeah, it's not
is-
very exciting.
it's another d6 damage.
Another D6, yeah.
And then she gets something called infiltration expertise,
Oh, yes.
where you can unfailingly create false identities of yourself over the course of 7 days. And you basically become another identity. You don't take on, it's not like you can take on somebody else's identity, but you can take on the identity of a type of person and then be believed to be that type of person. So the
Nice.
yeah, I mean, from this point on, the assassin does more and more of this kind of infiltration type stuff. That's what the traits, the feats
Yeah.
and stuff go to.
Yeah.
So unless we get deeply into that kind of role play stuff, it's not that interesting.
Well, I mean, I
so you're gonna
don't spoil. I
multi-class.
can't get into too many spoilers, but I mean, effectively, all of book 7 and most of book 8 are just one long
Roleplay.
role-playing exercise. Yeah.
Well, that's
Ooh,
great.
Look forward to that.
That's, and that's as exciting as it gets. So I will consider multi-classing next time round.
Yes, multiclassing.
it's an odd one. Yeah.
I did say in one of the first episodes that it's not good to multiclass, and then I went and multiclass. So
Oh, well, we've been talking about the coffee lock, have we not? Yes, very interesting.
what's that?
So, coffee lock, it's when you take 2 levels of warlock, 2 levels of sorcerer, and you take the warlock thing that means you don't have to sleep, and you take the sorcerer feature where you can convert spell slots into sorcery points, or whatever they're called, and you can convert sorcery points into spell slots. Then what you do is you never go to bed, and every short rest you get your warlock spell slots back, which you immediately convert into sorcery points, and then immediately convert back into sorcerer spell slots that will never run out as long as you don't take a long rest. So you can basically turn yourself into this super powered sorcerer monster with just limitless spell capability.
And the caffeine addiction.
Yeah. Anyway, and we'll save the sesh till last.
Ah, right. Okay, me.
Yeah.
So
Off you go.
I thought 9th level was a bit dull, and then I realised it's not.
Oh, okay.
Because
Fifth level spell.
That's like a Top Gear car review.
Yeah.
It's now worrying Mike.
You get a 5th level spell, right?
well, I get
Fifth
5th level spells, which is nice. Yeah.
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 And I can prepare more spells, so we'll come on to spells in a minute.
Oh dear, there's something
But I
else.
also noticed that proficiency bonuses move at 9th level, and that
Yes,
makes
they do.
spell DCs go up by 1.
Everything goes up. Yeah. All of
Yeah.
your 2-hit rolls, all of your everything goes up by 1.
Yeah.
Is it on class level though, or character level?
I think it's,
No, it's
gonna
on
be
class
class
level.
It's another
Yeah.
Is it?
clever
So-
multi-classing thing.
Right. So it's a multicast penalty. So you
Oh,
can,
Yeah.
You're down in the 3s, I would think, there, John.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yes.
Whereas
So
I'm
you're
in-
up to
we're at
4s.
4s.
Yeah, proficiency bonus is 4.
Better go at the front then. For
Yeah.
attacking
No, but it does make the
force.
spells and the choices a bit more interesting.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Because it's harder to save against the spells again.
Yes, I mean, obviously the whole game ticks on in the background to scale up the challenges you face.
Yep. And as a trickster, I automatically get access to dominate person and modify memory, which sound quite fun
Blimey.
as 5th
Very
level
good.
spells. And then I was thinking a little bit, and I decided I would go a bit heavy into 5th level spells. So I've taken Commune.
Oh,
I've
hello.
prepared that,
Yes.
What does that do?
which I can cast as a ritual, so it doesn't take my 5th level spell slot. You just have
Yes.
to prepare it. And Summon Celestial, which might be interesting. I haven't decided, but I did have to lose one of my lower
That's
level
very interesting.
spells.
Once you start summoning stuff, I mean, what do you get when you basically a celestial is like a sort of plain touched creature, right?
Yeah, it's a
Just looking at Commune to see how much I
a
hate it.
spiritual form. Oh yeah, 3 questions, yes, no answers.
Okay.
You're not supposed to do it more often within a long rest period, basically.
If you cast it too many times,
You get a duff result.
I was hoping there would be some fiendishly expensive material component which I could use to
Well, I did think-
arbitrarily limit your use, but unfortunately there
Yeah,
isn't.
I did stick clear of Raised Dead because of the, well, anyhow, you can rememorize it.
I mean,
Fine.
Raised Dead's an odd one because, I mean, if you'd had Raised Dead all this time, you'd have used it once in the whole adventure.
On Grimbold.
Yeah.
Well, look, you also need the massive diamond, and we did have a massive diamond, but
You did you
someone
had 3 massive diamonds, but now you have 2, if I've got that right. And they are.
So we do have some material spell components, should we need to use them.
There we are. And then Dan obviously is not here, but Dan can talk us through Burple's 9th level choices when he's with us again, or maybe Dan and I can sit and we can drop that into one of our intros or something for a later episode. Great.
So that's pretty cool, really. You wake up, part of your morning routine, get up, ritual spellcaster, commune, ask 3 questions, have your breakfast,
Yeah,
be a wiser man.
absolutely. I think it comes with a tarot deck, I've decided. So Sessions is going to unfold his little bit of purple velvet, I would think. Squat down and draw the cards and see what's happening.
I like it. Yes, no questions, 50%.
Yeah, you just need to think of a question that can be answered yes or no.
So what's its session's name going to be then?
Oh, yes.
Tarot deck, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's just the tarot deck.
Yeah.
It's not long before you hear the sounds of people approaching the Cenobite, and Talabir, accompanied by Rachnian himself, and Okharal, Rachnian's head of security, looking at you in a particularly kind of flinty, steely, pissed off kind of way,
Looking at me in a funny way.
appear along with the officials that run the draw for the next bouts. They kind of sweep into the chamber. With them is Shank Frankham and Mernst Dankbarrel, the floating spherical wizard accomplice, who have clearly been with Rachnian and Talabir and
Right. Set up.
well, maybe. I mean, it's one of those things. Frankham has been champion for however many years in a row. I mean, he is like a big star. He's the Federer of the games of misrule. So, yes, obviously he's going to be sort of a bit more in with the authorities. Anyway, I mean, he could have just been up there watching your fight. He nods at you from the back of this crowd as everybody enters the chamber. And Talabir looks around and he dispatches an official who raps on the door of Filge's cabin. And Filge's ashen, sneery little face pops out and regards everybody coldly, and then rather reluctantly he steps out into the main chamber, and you're all gathered. Talabir says, "It is time to make the draw for the semi-finals. We have the Null Mountain Massacre. We have the Anvil of Thump. We have the Flayer Slayers, led by their captain, Dunchel Tuntley. And we have the Gravediggers, led by Filge." Filge goes, regards you all coldly. "And we shall now have the draw. There are 2 bouts tomorrow. One semi-final will be fought at 3 p.m. and the other semi-final will be fought at 8 p.m. Officials, please." And there's a lot of rattling around in bags. An official pulls a card out of the bag, holds it up, and he says, "The Flayer Slayers."
Ooh.
"And which opponent will the Flayer Slayers face?"
Bet it's not Shank Fankum.
There's a lot of rattling around, and a card comes out. "The Gravediggers."
Told you.
Filge looks
there
at
we
you
go.
and just goes,
We had to be Shank Fankum in the final, didn't it?
and we can confirm that the 8 p.m. fight will be between reigning champions, the Null Mountain Massacre, and the Anvil of Thump. The Anvil of Thump look actually pretty pleased with the draw.
We should find out what the Gravediggers are like in the battle zone.
Well, yes, you could maybe do some asking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Competitors, rest up, recuperate, enjoy yourselves, for tomorrow you fight in the semi-finals.
Whee!
And then he says, "Master," and Rachnian looks at you all coldly and says, "Good luck tomorrow. Try and keep the crowds entertained. Oh, and Flayer Slayers, try not to have your bout over within the first 30 seconds. And then he sweeps out, and the others all follow him out. Leaving Chank and Mernst, who look around a bit, look like they're kind of considering the idea that they might socialise, decide against it, and shuffle off into their cabin, just leaving you and the Anvil of Thump sitting there looking at your beer.
We're going to do some exploring.
Let's go and ask the Anvil of Thump if they've watched the Gravediggers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
We have watched the Gravediggers, yes.
How do they fight?
What's their shtick?
Well, you don't see much of, what's his name again? Is it Filge?
Filge.
You don't see much of Filge. He's got his, he calls them his creations. We watched his first fight against the lizard folk, the Mistmarsh Maulers, and really it's a question of he seems to be able to bring a new group of undead horribleness that he inflicts upon each set of opponents in turn. And honestly, he made quite short work of those lizard folk, I have to say. And we're pretty glad, to be honest, that we didn't draw him. I mean, Mr. Fankham and his golems are a prospect. But to be honest, everything we hear about you chaps, we're glad to have avoided you. And everything we know about Filge and his infernal necromantic horriblenesses, we're pretty glad to have avoided that too. So at least we know what we're up against, a straight fight against big things. And that's, big things powered by small things, that's us.
No. So we've got to prepare for necromantic stuff. Can we nobble them in any way? What can we do to get him before the battle?
You're not asking me this question, are you?
No.
Good, I'll sit here and drink beer while you chat about what to do next. That's my idea of the perfect session.
One thought. So, what time did you say? It was about 8:20 at the moment.
Oh, you got in at about 8:20. You sat and chatted. You've considered your 9th level. Oh, I have some information for you, by the way. As you feel the benevolence of Ort settle upon your shoulders with 9th level, Sessions, Burple, and Parker, if it is the real Parker,
Yeah.
you feel a change in some of the items that you are bearing, items that you've been carrying with you since very early on in our adventure. In fact, items that you found in the tomb of Zosiel all that time ago. You feel that the protection offered to you by the Shroud of Zosiel, Parker, the white shroud that you wear, which effectively gives you the equivalent of mithril armor. You feel that its protection, you feel it somehow feels enhanced.
Oh.
A little. Likewise, Sessions, the diadem you wear that grants you +1 to your wisdom.
That is correct.
It now grants you +2 to your wisdom. You feel that it's, as it were, energized somehow. And Burple notices a surge of energy through the sword of Zosiel that he bears and feels that it has somehow, increased in magical power somehow.
And the cloak of Mithril Mail? +1?
Yes, effectively, in rules terms, you think that it is now a +1 set of magical vestments.
Now,
so there's some sort of conjunction of planets, isn't there, coming up? There's something to do with that, isn't it?
It's difficult to put your finger on kind of what's going on here, but your sense is that as you feel the energy of Ort flow through you and you feel your new powers reside within you, you also feel that these pieces of magic have sort of somehow elevated their own level of magic to match your enhancement. Anyway, sorry, yes, I got distracted there. The draw was held at 9, so it's now about, let's say, 9:10 in the evening.
So we can carry on exploring, can we?
8 hours from now would be 5 in the morning.
Yeah, you can't take another long rest
until
today.
12.
Until midnight.
If you take a long rest at midnight, then by 8 in the morning, you would be fully rested. You'd have a fight at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Right, so we can go and do some exploring now.
We've got
Absolutely.
ages. We've got
We've got a
absolutely
worm to deal
ages.
with, haven't we?
You have.
We've got no more.
By the way, what happened with cashing in our bet from
If
the
you
first
hunt
round?
down the bookie that
Yeah.
you initially lodged your bet with, they've been conspicuously absent. You bet as follows. Sessions bet on winning your first match at 2-1, and he put down 30 gold pieces. So he is owed 60 gold pieces plus his stake by the bookie. Would you like to claim that win, Sessions?
Oh yeah, why not?
Burple bet 20 gold pieces on the same bout and therefore gets back 40 in winnings and his original stake. Now, Alessandra and Parker, you bet on you lot to win the whole thing at 25-1. You
Yeah.
did. Alessandra
okay,
put down 100 gold pieces at 25-1 on winning the whole thing. Parker put down 48 gold pieces, all that was left in his funny,
Yeah.
scrubby little pocket.
Yes. Oh, I couldn't remember whether I betted on the whole thing or not. Okay.
including that last gold piece that he keeps in his belly button.
Yeah.
Alessandra, you stand to win $2,500 if you actually
Yeah.
win the whole thing, and Parker 1,200 gold pieces.
Nice.
Right.
So that's the thing. So I mean, Sessions and Burple can claim their winnings. Alessandra and Parker, I mean, the bookie's there, and he's looking increasingly like he wishes you weren't there. But there's not much you can do about that.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
ask him, does he want to buy my bet out now?
How much would he have to offer you?
I don't know.
Oh, there we are. I mean, give him a number, and he'll consider it.
I'll have a think about that one.
He's got his board with all of the odds chalked up on it.
What are our odds?
Well, you're about 5-1 to win the whole thing now. You are, I think, slight favourites, 5-6 favourites to go through against Filge. Filge 6-5. The other semi-final between the Newell Mountain Massacre and Anvil of Thump. Newell Mountain Massacre are strong favourites to go through that fight, 1-3 on. Anvil of Thump 3-1. The Newell Mountain Massacre, they're about 1-2 to win the whole thing, and then the winner of your bout is going to come in at about 3-1, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about the things that you've got in terms of the threads that you've got to pull on? You haven't visited your cabin yet. You're not sure what happened with
No, I think we ought to do that.
Garth Southport.
Yeah, I think we should go and see Garth Southport. I think we should go and revisit
But
the worm.
he's not there.
He's not there with his
There's a note
late sister. Oh, right.
Ah.
left by him. It says, "Hi guys."
Hi, guys.
Lahaka is not there either. I thought I'd take the opportunity of the whole Scenery being quiet and everything to try and get my sister out to Eligos. I don't know if she's ever going to be the same. But I'll come back and we'll talk soon. Okay, guys? Bye.
Where have we got with the worm, by the way? I can't remember.
Well, so, yes, where are you with the worm? I can tell you where you are with the worm. You have opened up the shrine. You got yourself all the way through and you took out hooves. The shrine itself has got the scrolls on an altar and the green crackling energy zapping into a set of double doors that you've not opened, but you think lead towards the worm chamber that you've glimpsed through that pipe.
Then
Oh, yeah.
there was the nastiness we ran from.
Yes, on the other side of Hooves' little bedchamber, there was a door heading north, which Alessandra, after Burple cast a clairvoyance spell and had a bit of a scope with
there
it,
was that thing behind the curtain. wasn't
Alessandra went up into this chamber that was north of there, part of which is separated off by a curtain. She peered over the curtain. She had to make a saving throw against something she saw on the other side, on the far wall, that almost basically took her out of everything, but she made that save. And then a horrible, globbly, eye-pitted, orange, slimy, blancmange creature leapt out of a pot sitting in that curtained-off area and basically started having at you and casting stinking clouds and stuff, and you just absolutely shat yourselves
So we
and
need to
ran
go
for
in
your
and kill that then.
very lives. What that thing is, would it be waiting? Will it be guarding? Is it something that's living in that little spot, and if you don't disturb it? I mean, you just don't know. In terms of the worm and the scrolls, you kind of hit a bit of a, I don't know. I mean, you haven't opened those doors, so you're not really sure.
Let's
Should we
go
go back
down and
down?
open the doors.
Yeah. What about the orrery, by the way?
Well, the orrery
How many
has
days
been-
off this conjunction are we at?
The conjunction is tomorrow, the third day of Misrule.
Right.
On the midnight of the last day of Fumbulary, as you flipped over into the Festival of Misrule, you definitely felt the energy of the orrery pop up a notch. You could kind of feel it starting to hum. And that sense of the orrery becoming increasingly energized has persisted since then, with it seeming to sort of elevate itself a level at midnight every night. So you're not sure what will happen at midnight tonight, but the conjunction that the orrery is predicting will happen tomorrow,
So we've got to sort the worm out before tomorrow.
if it's anything to do with anything.
Should we go down? Open the
Yeah.
doors? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Before we go, I need a short rest.
That would take you round to, say, 11 something, 11 o'clock, let's say. I mean, if that.
I don't really recover anything on a short rest as far as I can see. Let me just check.
You didn't lose any
I
hit
just
points,
rolled-
obviously.
I didn't lose any hit points either.
4 ones.
Oh no, Channel Divinity, which I didn't use anyhow, refreshes on a short rest.
Oh, hold on. The aid. Did you do aid?
There
at
was
the
an aid
beginning?
spell, yep.
That's
Last 8
still
hours.
running.
Oh, blimey, yeah. Well, that still works,
I
yeah.
just need to add that because
How are you getting there?
Walk to the cellar.
By the wine cellar.
So you're sneaking up the stairs to the understructure. Like I said,
Yes.
don't seem to be any guards around.
Yeah.
No sign of Chank Fankum, no sign of Filge, the Anvil of Thump. I mean, that you just leave them sitting around their table looking, whatever. The passageway that runs from the main hallway, past the beast cages towards the centre, and then on to where the wine cellar was.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing this? Are you just walking? I mean, are you just breezily stalking through the corridors like you own the place, or are you sneaking, or what are you doing?
I think we just breeze along.
You breeze down the passageway. The beasts are back in their cages.
Oh, can I just throw a bit of meat for them and with my beast?
Yeah.
Conversing, say,
Yeah.
thank you for not
Not
eating
eating
me. Here's some meat.
Yes, the leopard says, and you mentioned that you were going to free us all?
Yes.
Deal?
Later.
When
later.
shall we? I mean, it's just that we have plans, dinner plans.
Yes. I have quite a bit on my plate at the moment, but take this gift of meat as a sort of interim gift.
Or sort of like a taste of freedom.
Yes. Think of it like that.
Do you have to free the boars? They really are the ghastly people.
No, I won't free the boars. And then I'll say to the
Oh.
boars, no, I'm not freeing the leopards.
The boars like, oh good, yeah, don't free them. They're really stuck up. They're horrible.
Oh, no, there's no way I'd free them. Oh, no.
They don't deserve freedom. You get to the central corridor, and then you're at the point where you're basically turning to the wine cellar door. Whoever is leading, let's say it's Alessandra, as you turn the corner, but before you can see where you're going, you could hear the sound of people waiting.
Ghouls shuffling around.
You're not sure. Does anybody want to... Do you want to stop? Do you want to just keep going?
I'm going to stop.
You hear a cough and the kind of shuffle of feet from the direction you're going in.
All right, I'll turn around and signal to everybody else to just stop and be quiet, and then I'm going...
You hear, hello? I mean, you've been walking, you said business as usual, breezily
Yeah.
walking along the corridors. You've been chatting to the animals.
I'll go, hello,
Hello?
and I walk round.
Who are you?
We're the flare slares. We're just taking...
You shouldn't be up here.
we're
There
just-
are 5 guards standing
Yeah.
outside the wine cellar door.
So we're just taking. We need to a post-match, stretch of our legs. It's part of our routine.
The door is open a crack, and one of the guards briefly kind of pushes it in a little bit, leans his head in there, and you can hear kind of, and then the door's closed. He comes back out, and the door's closed behind him. You're not meant to be up here, madam.
I know.
This area of the understructure is not for competitors.
It's part of our post-match routine. We've won. We just need to calm
I'm afraid
down.
you're going to have to, madam.
It's warming down the muscles.
I'm afraid you're going to have to
it's
change
part
your
of the
routine. Have you been routinely walking in this area? Because if so, that will be grounds for disqualification for the whole competition.
No. It's just part of our routine to go for a walk.
So when you say routine, you don't mean routine. This is more of a one-off.
Yeah, it's a one-off up here, but the routine is to go for a walk. We just found ourselves up here, you see.
Well, it's been a simple misunderstanding. I won't detain you any longer.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you're very keen to get back to your quarters.
Well, not really, but
I'm sure you are
sorry,
very keen to get back to your quarters.
What's your name? Because I'd like to commend you. I'd like to talk to your boss when we win. You see, I'd like to kind of.
My name
thank
is
you.
Hooswangle Bangfriendle.
Who's Wangle Bangfriendle?
And if you wish to...
It's a bit tongue twister, that one, isn't it?
Do you think so? The Bangfriendle family have got... I'm Hooswangle. My brother is Dirge Fresley. Removal Pencoffle is my sister.
Are you related to Waswangle?
No. What a ridiculous name is that? Anyway, if you wish to speak to any of my superiors about this service that our guard detachment has delivered to you this evening, madam, you are welcome to.
It's an excellent service. Do I have to fill out a
Do you need any assistance
survey?
in finding your way back to where you're meant to be?
No. We know where we've come from.
Oh, well, that's excellent then. So, well, be seeing you. Best to be, not disqualified from the whole competition. That would be my
That would certainly
firm
be clumsy,
recommendation.
wouldn't it? Mm-hmm.
It's not
You're
bad.
still here, madam. How very interesting. Have you got friends with you? He starts walking towards you, pulls his sword out of his scabbard.
Oh yeah, no, we're all.
And another guard, she starts looking quite frosty. She very briefly opens the door into the wine cellar, just whispers something urgent through the crack in the door, closes it again, and then starts following up. She pulls her sword out too. We wouldn't want to have any misunderstandings about your presence here, would we, madam?
We're going now. There's all of us here. We're going now. We're just, we're turning around. Look, there's all of us are here.
Can't
We'll
take him anywhere.
Okay, well, it was very nice to have made your acquaintance, albeit, I think, tragically briefly, madam.
And I'll turn around and start walking back towards the scenery.
Okay, well, you hear them kind of muttering and chatting, and then the sound of them recedes from you, and you're back in the main hallway at the top of the staircase.
So we're going to go back the other way through the pool.
That you can do. And before you know it, you are clambering out of the pit in that little northern chamber above the coffin room in the shrine.
Okay.
I'll spring out, jump up. light pebble on my neck.
The lantern that dangles above the pit is lit, as are torches.
Very tempted to go up those stairs into the wine room, so behind the guards, and ask them what they're doing there.
Uncle Buggy, the torches that were not lit before are lit in the room with the coffins in it that you first went into when you came down from the wine cellar steps.
Yeah.
The corridor leading south has got torches lit, and the door leading into the training room where you fought so many zombies is open, and that training room seems empty. You can see flickering in that training room from your east the telltale sign that the doors must be open into the shrine with the green and crackling energy beam, because this is a green flickery light
Yes.
periodically lighting up that chamber. There's no sound of any movement or anything.
Right, well, I'll move all the way down so I can peer down that east corridor through all those
Can
doors.
you give me a perception check as you do so?
I'm 18.
As you pass through the coffin room, you pass by the door that you know leads back up to the wine cellar.
Yeah.
That door is open a crack, and you can see light coming through that crack in the door, and you can hear the sound of low, quite distant murmuring.
The guards.
Somebody.
I'll follow Buggy and have a listen too.
Are you trying to be quiet?
Yes.
Okay, let's have a stealth check first then.
15,
So you're lovely and quiet as you creep up
18
towards the
in
door,
total.
and give me a perception check for your listen.
Oh, terrible 3.
Okay, so you can hear the sound of murmuring voices.
Let me do the same. I'll do a stealth check, which
So
is
it's
roll at
Rachnian getting
advantage.
his minions together to complete the ritual.
So I get a 24 on my stealth,
Okay, yep. Silent as drizzle.
and my perception check is 15.
Okay, you can hear a couple of voices. I think one of the voices is female from the intonation. The other voice is male. From the occasional snatches and phrases that you hear, they seem to be bored. They seem to be discussing why they've been asked to stand around here and when is Ockerel going to come and tell them what to do next.
Aha.
Yeah, they're just grunts. They're minions. I'm proceeding forward
Yeah.
into the room that the screamy thing was in, and then I'm peering through those doors, just peering around the corner.
Yeah,
eastwards.
so peering around the corner, you're looking into, you can just duck your head quickly around the corner, take a quick snatch of a glance, but not expose yourself. And, well, if you take my meaning.
Yeah, family show.
Yeah, keep it above the waist. The shrine is as you left it. There are the fallen cadavers of the ghouls that you've killed. Nobody's been in here and cleaned up, as it were.
Yeah. I'm going
Is
to
there
do a
any
protection.
evidence of footsteps?
Give me a survival check.
Oh, God. Terrible. A 2. No, okay. Forget
You can't
that.
see any evidence of... To be honest, Parker, trying to unpick even your own
Yeah.
traces in these corridors and stuff, with all of the tramping, wormy ghoul blood backwards and forwards through all these corridors,
Tramping.
right? And all these awful things all zombieing about. I mean, it would just be a challenge for even the greatest tracker. Green energy beam is still crackling across the chamber in front of you. The door on the other side of the shrine is still open, leads to another open door. That's a door you think you might have closed, which leads into Hooves' bedroom.
Right, I'm doing protection from evil on myself.
You can see the chest that you disappeared into, Buggy.
Okay.
And there's light coming from in that room. Sessions and Burple, are we rolling a dice to see who controls Burple?
Yes.
Okay, going around the table, D4. Oh no, I suppose I could include myself. No, I won't include myself.
You should include
So-
yourself.
Okay, well, I'll roll a D10 in that case. Running around me, Lucas, Graham, Paul, and Johnny. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Graham, you can decide what Burple is up to for the moment.
Okay. Well, Sessions and Burple will cross the room with the coffins down to the T-junction.
Yeah.
And hold there.
Sandra, what are you doing?
I think Alessandra's going to move on down to the double
Okay.
doors.
Just before you leave, can you give me another perception check?
Maybe we should lock that door.
Getting a 20.
You pick up something to the effect of, have you been down there, by the way? No, I haven't. Well, I mean, what's going I mean, it's absolutely awful. I mean, God knows what's been going on down there. Something absolutely awful. Like, we aren't going to have to go down there and clear it all up. That's what I can say. Anyway, well, I suppose we'll get instructions in due course. Something along those lines.
Okay.
I think that Alessandra, with her picks and tools, could lock that door at the bottom of the stairs.
Okay.
There's a stealth check involved. Do you want to do it without anybody hearing a kind of as you do
Well,
it?
let's start doing with the stealth check. Oh dear, terrible. 13. Sorry, 16.
Okay, 16's perfectly passable. Now let's see if you can manipulate the
Okay,
lock
so it's-
successfully.
It's 14 on this.
Wow.
28.
You successfully flip the tumblers in the lock and click it closed. I just wanted to get that established. So you got Sandy, Burple, Sessions, Parker, Buggy. What do you want to do?
I'd like to make my way down to the double doors in the training room.
Yep. Parker?
I've been following Buggy.
I can go first if you want. You know,
Buggy
Anybody
and
can take
I-
the lead.
cannon fodder.
There's no sound, there's nothing.
I will proceed forward up into the room with the sickly green beam,
Yep.
slightly at an angle so that anybody in that room with a chest,
Yes, I understand.
if they
just
look down
tucked
that
away
corridor,
so they
they're
could
not
see
going
it.
to see
Yep,
me. Yeah.
completely got it. So the scrolls are still there.
We can't seem to touch them. We can't seem to interact
Nobody's
with
tried to
them.
actually touch them, but you've tried to disturb them with the points of weapons and stuff.
And nothing happens.
So they're on
No, it's
another
like they're
dimension.
not part of your reality. It's like they just can't be interacted with.
What we really need is...
But like I said, nobody's actually,
What we
taken
need
the
is
old
Uncle
glove off,
Buggy.
reached out,
Uncle
and just
Buggy needs
touched
to
the
touch
things.
it.
Well, and the green energy beam is still running out of the scrolls through or into the double doors to your north that you've not yet opened.
Lucky, I think you need to get in touch.
That was
with-
brave of Buggy. What about
Well-
Parker, Sandy, Sessions, Burple? Anybody going to
Sandy?
catch up
Well,
with Buggy?
Sessions
Yeah,
is
I've-
going to advance.
I'm right behind Buggy. Should we open the double doors? Or
I tell you what, one of us opened the double doors and the other tried to disrupt the beam with their hand.
what?
I think Mike hinted that if we physical contact.
Sorry, if I was hinting
What?
that, I
No.
was.
No, no, no,
I-
no,
let me.
no, no,
sorry,
no,
I just
no.
want to make sure that I'm clear on this.
No,
What
no,
I-
no.
I didn't say anything about anybody interrupting the beam with their hand. In fact,
Or
you've
touching
seen
the
Hooves
scrolls, so-
stand in the energy beam with apparently no ill effects. Although Hooves may not have been, like you guys. Well, he definitely wasn't like you guys.
Well, you kind of
What I said
suggested
was that nobody had tried to touch the scrolls.
Yes, that's what I
They've
mean.
only tried to disturb them with an implement or a tool.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
said.
I think one of us needs to touch the scroll and the other one open the door. So maybe
Why
we
don't we
roll
try
dice
opening
and
the
the
door
person who
first?
gets the lowest.
No, I don't think we should be touching the scrolls. I think that.
Well,
I think Mike's hinted that we should touch the
while
scrolls.
Parker and Buggy discuss what to do next, what does Sandy, Sessions, and Burple want to do?
Sessions has moved up to the other side of the double doors in the training room.
FBI
Opposite
style.
Sandy,
Yeah.
Burple will come into the room as
Well,
well.
Burple would be a good candidate to touch the scrolls, I think.
Yeah, Burple, suddenly full of gusto and
clothes off.
enthusiasm, runs into the room, takes off all his clothes, rolls around naked on the floor.
Yeah, and then
Throws
touch,
himself into the green beam and then
Yeah.
rubs himself against
touch
the
the
scrolls.
scrolls, opens the door.
Because that's so like him.
He's composing a song.
Mm-hmm.
Buggy, buggy, buggy. He
I
doesn't know
think
where
we
it's
should roll
going
random.
yet, but it's probably going to have door in it in a minute.
Okay, well, it's a very good song so far.
Alessandra's going to go and listen at the door.
Ooh.
You're going to be making your roll at disadvantage because you've got the whatever. These little fingers of green crackling lightning are kind of playing over the door right next to where your
Ear is.
But give me a roll.
25.
Yes.
And the second roll is a 27.
Yeah, okay. Your sense is that the crackling energy beam noise doesn't end at the doors, that you can
No.
hear it persisting through the doors.
Yeah.
I don't think I can put it more
I imagine that
clearly
would be
than that, really.
I imagine that to be the case. Is there anything else going on?
That you can hear? No, nothing.
Okay.
Oh, maybe a light amount of incredibly scary pulsing. Kind of thing. I mean,
Incredibly scary pulsing.
Yeah, maybe a sort of colossal necrotic heartbeat. A bit of that.
Is there any lock on the doors? Does it look like would they open freely, or would we need to kind of unlock them?
They've got little ring bolt latch handles, one on each door, that you can turn.
Yeah.
Should you wish to. Do you want to try and turn one?
Well, what I'm saying is there an obvious locking mechanism? Like, is there a lock in the door?
Yes, there's a keyhole.
There's a keyhole. Okay. I think, first of all, I'm going to try and, using my thieves' picks and tools, see if playing around with the keyhole to find out whether it's locked or not, without disturbing the...
Give me a
Same
dexterity
again?
check.
22.
It doesn't feel like it's locked, this lock.
Okay, in which case, I'm going to look around at everybody in the room and go, shall I open the doors?
Yeah, go for it.
Go on.
Give you a stealth check first.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, just step slightly out of the way.
Okay. Is everybody happy where they're standing as the doors get opened?
Yes,
a lot of
Buggy's hiding in the corner
There's a lot of
suddenly.
shuffling of
Parker's stepping back
characters.
towards the other room.
Not hiding.
Yes,
all-
yes.
all-
Purple
all
and Sessions
moving
are
out of the line.
slightly closing the doors at their
Slightly
end.
closing the doors. I like that. Okay, so Purple and Sessions are closing the doors. Okay,
So
so
just
just sealing
slightly
the others in.
Slightly
no,
closing
Should
the
that,
doors, not fully closing
slightly
the doors.
closing the doors. How many inches are you leaving the doors open?
I think 6 inches would be reasonable to peer around.
6 inches. Okay. Alessandra, you swing the doors open.
I didn't say I was swinging the doors. I was
But
just
gently,
going to-
secretly, yes, super
gently
cautiously opening the
looking-
doors in such a way that the doors are open at the end of what you do, but at no point do you expose yourself to any risk of any sort. That
Yeah,
kind.
no, exactly.
There is a corridor leading north. It leads to what I can only describe as a portal. The portal seems to separate this corridor as it runs north to where you think must link up with the chamber with the awful, swollen, necrotic super grub the size of a bus in it. It's a stone portal and it's covered with an obscene depiction of an orgy of dead, worm-ridden corpses. The middle of this kind of mass of ghoulness, there's the carving of a horrible green skull of Kios, which is uttering a silent scream of triumph. And the green energy beam is crackling right into that open, scully mouth. That is what you can see. Basically the scariest thing.
Quite
imaginable.
unpleasant.
Are you relaying your discovery back to the others who are all turned away from you with their fingers in their ears?
Waiting for the explosion.
I whisper, "Oh my God, so much magic!"
Well, that's certainly enough to get us hurtling
Should I
down the
roll
corridor.
the scroll up? Is that going to be under buggy?
Which scroll?
The scroll, the beam's coming out of.
Well, you can try to.
Okay, I'll go over and pick up the scroll then.
Okay, they feel like they're not part of your reality.
Yeah.
But, Uncle Buggy, the moment that you make contact with them, the overwhelming, dark, malevolent intellect of some enormous entity is suddenly present in your mind, and you're physically, as it were, recoil from the scrolls and stagger back. Honestly, you felt that if you'd kept your hand against the scrolls, that there might have been a point at which the dividing line between your mind and the mind of this giant intellect might have rather blurred between each other.
So you're
But
talking
you
about
just-
Call of Cthulhu.
Had an instant, like a hot hob or an electric fence or something. Yeah, it's like,
I got Protection from Evil running. I don't know if that helps.
yes, you feel like that your protection from evil was a definite help.
Yeah, so it's a bit like Call of Cthulhu. This is the Great One or something, and it's
Maybe
some
not.
sort of
I mean, that's
joining,
that's a difficult
looking
one.
into
But I mean,
their
certainly
mind
a
or something.
giant, malevolent entity or personality or intellect was immediately communing with you the moment you touched the scrolls.
There's nothing in the way of.
Oh, by the way, and the scrolls themselves did not react to your whatever pressure you placed upon them.
So
This
there
is
are
a plane of
another
thing.
dimension, or there are some sort of another time.
And there's nothing we've picked up in the way of items, kit, magic, which could help with this.
You've left the doors open leading to the north, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's always
We
a
search the
reason
altar.
you're
Search the altar.
checking.
Altar is a plain stone block with two supporting stones, like almost kind of Paleolithic in its simplicity. There's
Stick a mirror between in the path of the beam.
it ignores the mirror. It just crackles on through.
There's a corridor, and at the end of the corridor there is a portal.
It's something that can be moved or opened, but it's not a door in the sense of a domestic or.
I'm going to go very carefully, bit by bit, up the corridor.
Tell me exactly what you mean by bit by bit.
Stealthily, I'm going to go half move. I'm going to be checking my step very carefully, so not pressuring before.
So you're testing the ground before you put your weight forward.
Yeah. So any kind of
Okay.
traps like that, I'm checking the walls for any traps. So really, really carefully, because my aim is to get to the portal and inspect the portal.
What's everybody else doing while Alessandra does this? You see, I'm being respectful. Calling
you.
her Alessandra while she does something so brave.
Utterly foolhardy.
This isn't a Sandra moment, I feel.
Well, I'll move up.
Should we tie a
alongside.
rope to you so that we can drag you back if there's a problem?
Drag my body back.
Okay, you can tie a rope around Alessandra's waist. Somebody can hold on to that. Uncle Buggy is
Yeah, I'll do
standing on
that.
the threshold of the door, ready in support. Parker's holding
Yeah.
on to the rope.
Sessions and Burp will move up next to where Parker
Okay.
is.
Right on the threshold of the room. Okay, Sandra. Alessandra, sorry. Off you go.
Do you want any stealth rolls or?
Give me a
Perception.
perception check. And then it's an investigation check if you are micro-inspecting things. But then you need to tell me a little bit about... Oh,
An 8 plus 2, that's 10 perception.
yeah, no, you don't notice anything.
14 on the perception,
You don't spot anything particularly.
and I will
The whole
roll
corridor is obviously crackling with this green light. It's quite difficult to make out.
investigation check if you want one. Getting
Sure,
a 13.
do, yeah. Peering at the walls. No, you could see no sign of anything mechanical or concealed.
Another 5 foot.
Me following.
Two of you in lockstep. Can I give you another perception check?
I perceive up to 27.
16.
Good stuff.
Nothing.
Search along the
Okay.
wall. May as well.
Nothing.
Investigation of 13.
You don't see any mechanisms or hairline cracks or anything.
Another 5 foot. Same.
Okay, now
Deal.
you're only 5 feet from this awful door.
Oh, not so good. 13.
Alessandra.
Yeah.
13 as it happens is good enough. Just, Alessandra.
Yeah.
For you to notice the oddest thing just in front of you, I mean a foot in front of you, in between you and this portal, there's something odd going on. There's something a little bit like refraction going on, right? Like sticking a pen in a glass of water and seeing its image change.
Yeah.
There's something between you and the portal that you can't see, but is having an effect on the way that light moves and that the perspective works. And
Or
that
is this the membrane that we noticed the previous time?
Yes, Parker. If this is reported back to you, it very much resembles the effect that you detected at the end of the pipe leading to the same chamber.
Does the green beam stop at this membrane?
No, it
or
does
does
not. It
go
goes
on
straight
through?
into the membrane. In fact, the fact that it is piercing the membrane and the slightly different behavior of the light and the way that light moves as it crosses the membrane is what gave it away to Alessandra.
Aha. So it appears that the beam isn't providing the membrane, the beam is feeding the worm or something.
I mean,
It's
we're getting
I
into
think the worms
the mechanics
on
of something
another
that we
dimension.
don't.
The worms on another dimension. And
Anyway,
it's,
there you
there's
are.
no
Alessandra,
beam there.
this-
It's just on another dimension.
I'll take a crossbow bolt and, well, I'll try and touch the surface of this membrane, as you call it.
You're prodding it, right?
Yeah, just pushing against it. See if it's
Yeah,
seeing
there
what
is a
happens.
tiny amount of give. So it's not a wall of force, but only a tiny amount.
I vaguely remember that Burple established this last time, didn't
Yeah,
the
if you pinged light pebbles and they were bouncing back. So it's got a sort of rubbery, elastic quality,
Yeah.
but it's not physical. You don't feel like you're
Yeah.
pushing against something physical that's been turned invisible. You feel like you're pushing against some kind of force with an elastic quality.
Yeah.
But how strong is that force?
Well, if you try and break the plane of this thing by more than about an inch, you realise that you can't push any further.
Okay, it's too tough.
Anybody else? Anyone for anything else? You're undisturbed. Nobody seems to be paying any attention to you.
I wonder if you could, like, dimension door or misty step through it.
That doesn't sound like a good thing to do, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's your point. I mean, you've got to meet certain conditions. Are you talking about misty stepping or dimension dooring into the space between where you detect the barrier and the portal itself? You can see no reason why you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, it's just like crossing this barrier.
Yeah.
So try and go in.
I mean, I've got misty step, but I haven't got, dimension door.
I'll try and step through
You're going to try and step through the barrier.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, okay.
slowly.
The moment
arrange
that
to
you
step
make
back.
contact with the barrier, I've got nothing but bad news for you. You take the following necrotic damage.
Yeah.
You take 44 points
Holy moly.
Oh, that's like
of necrotic
concentrate.
damage, and you are forcibly pushed away by the barrier back down the corridor. You can probably retain your balance.
Okay. All right. Well, so I think we had to do that. See if we could work. So it doesn't. Well, I don't. I've just got no idea what to do.
I'm thinking we
got-
still need to go down that corridor past where the Hooves' chamber.
Well, I was wondering
was.
about that.
We've got the apostolic scrolls. Do they mean anything? Would they do anything?
Okay, this is a gap in your plot knowledge.
No, these
that
are
I,
the
frankly,
Apostolic Scrolls.
Sorry.
I've been looking for somewhere to park my car for a while, and finally I found a space big
Is
enough.
this what the scrolls are behind us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I
In the
thought
most embarrassing
All
way
right.
possible.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, sorry.
The apostolic scrolls are the scrolls you've been looking for and have found on this altar.
Sorry, I thought we'd found them and just had them with us, and this was something else. No.
Well,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a polite way of backing out of this so we can all pretend that you haven't completely fucked it. But
No, I completely fucked it. It's fine.
Good job you weren't doing the recap.
Weeks
basically.
and weeks and weeks adventuring under a total misapprehension of what was going on.
I'm going to do some cure spells, unless anybody can give me some cure stuff.
Lovely.
18 points of damage.
Nice.
18.
That puts you back in a slightly better nick.
I'll do a cure wounds on
Uncle Buggy.
Uncle Buggy as well.
What's the situation? Sandra and Uncle Buggy, are you staying in the corridor with this thing, or are you... What are you doing?
15, Uncle Buggy.
You don't feel any
15,
particular
thank
time
you.
pressure to do anything.
The scrolls have got... They're signed by Rachnian, aren't they? We can read them.
Again,
I've got it noted down. They're signed with a stylized R. Loris Rachnian.
you
not-
found a scroll in the possession of Zerxog asking for Zerxog to organise for your destruction. That was signed with the stylized R
Let's go down the
of Loris
corridor.
Rachnian.
God damn, too many scrolls. Yeah, just still
The
too many.
scrolls themselves that have been inspected by Sessions in some detail are written in a strange language that Sessions could not decipher.
Sessions, can you do banishment on the scrolls?
Interesting question. Let's consult. One creature you can see. No, I can't. But I wonder if we can banish the worm.
What's an object that you can see?
But the worm itself is not visible from where you're standing. There's a stone portal between you and the chamber that you think the worm is in. You can see the worm, on the other hand, down the pipe in the other room where you first found the worm. You can see its flank.
Yeah. So, Sessions, are you going to go and try your spell down the passageway? Because if you're not, then...
Well, let's try that. We'll go round to the other room.
Yeah. So you're heading back the way you came.
Yeah.
You're taking the little kink in the passageway that leads to the weird old machine room with this old
Yeah.
equipment in it. There's a pipe that leads down at an angle, and it seems to lead... You can peer down it. It seems to be leading down into a chamber that now is quite clearly must be it's got this worm in it, lit by this unearthly green energy. You know that just before the end of this pipe, there was this same rubbery, invisible membrane.
That's fine. He'll dangle himself down on a rope. Yeah.
This is marvellous. So tiny little 3-foot Sessions. So he's tying a rope around his waist and is being lowered down the pipe towards the worm chamber.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the further you descend down this pipe, Sessions, the louder the pulsing of the whatever awful circulatory system of this beast is thumping in your ears.
And then, can I see it at some point?
Well, you can see the flank. All you've ever been able to see is what you infer to be the side of this giant worm thing. You are down at the point where you're almost at this barrier. Can you give me, Sessions, an Arcana check as you approach the point where you think this barrier is? I mean, you're right up. Your nose is almost at it. Your face is lit up this sort of pale green.
15.
As you peer at this force wall, you peer at this thing. The green light that's obviously coming in from the other chamber is sort of suffusing this, and you can pick something out, Sessions. You can make out runes, almost like they are like flaws in a gem. So they're sort of floating in 3 dimensions, but you can see a distinct ring, like there's a circle of runes traced around the bit of the worm chamber that you can see, and those rune Sessions exactly resemble the runes in the blue and the red circles of ground on the arena above. And I think at that point we should pick things up next week.
That's so interesting.
I think there's an entrance.
Oh, so we're right underneath one of them.
Well, some interesting questions have been raised.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Champion's Belt and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Champion's Belt was written by Tito Lietti. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening!